All right, we are live. I see phases in here, Matthew and Colts Nation. Make sure you guys go ahead and send the tweet out that I'm live now. I'm going to do that right now, actually. But I got Stefan from Forged in Blue here with me to go over the podcast today. How are you doing today, Mr. Forged in Blue?
I'm good, man. I'm good. It's actually Steven, but that's okay.
Oh, okay.
No,
Steven,
you're good,
gotcha.
man. I've gotten that since I was a little kid.
Oh, yeah. All right. So, yeah, we got Steven with us today. We're going to talk some Colts football. It's a pleasure to have him on the show with us. And, yeah, this should be exciting. I'm ready for this.
Yeah, I'm excited, man. I got really excited last night about it.
Awesome. All right, we got Mandy on the show today. We got Lettering. How you doing? All right, the tweet is out. Now we can actually start. Juiced Up is here. What's going on, Juiced Up? All right, here we go. All right, I got my questions ready. Okay, we can start now. Okay, cool. So we're gonna start off by just go ahead and introducing yourself.
Yeah, my name is I'm Stephen Burton. I started a podcast called Forged in Blue podcast. Just huge Colts fan. Been it since I was little, and between kind of working from home and COVID and all that stuff, finally decided it was just something that I wanted to try to do, and started doing it. Probably about a month ago, and just like I talk about it in my podcast all the time, just kind of dumbfounded a little bit with the amount of response that I've gotten from people and being able to reach out to other people and kind of them just almost Colts Nation really embracing it. And so, I mean, I'm super pumped to be on here with you today.
Yeah, I'm glad that you are, man. But yeah, Coach Nation, they always come out and show support no matter who you are. As long as you stay consistent and you're keeping in touch with them, they really will show the respect back to you. So I really appreciate them for that as well. We're going to go into our next question, what inspired you to start your podcast?
Man, I mean, I've been a Colts fan since I was 5 years old. Since I knew what football really was. I joke my favorite play. One of my favorite players of all time is actually Jim Harbaugh. So uh, I've always and I live in Tennessee, so I'm surrounded obviously by Titans fans 24/7. Everyone I work with is a Titans fan, and I listen to the radio and I'm hearing Titans radio all the time. And I can't even listen to it the week they play the Colts. I don't want to do it because I get tired of hearing it all the time. And so phone calls from Colts fans too frequently. So it was one of those things where it was like, I'm sitting here, I'm sitting at home, I'm working from home, and I'm like, man, I just need to figure out. I want to kind of see if I can say, like, if people want to hear what I have to say a little bit, and then just kind of put it out there. And if people listen to it, it's great. If it's just my wife and my kid that listens to it, that's great too. And like I said earlier, I've just really been dumbfounded a little bit at the response that I've gotten since I started putting it out.
Yeah, that's dope, man. I'm not gonna lie, that first feeling when you get that comment from someone that's not yourself, or a family member, you're like in shock. You're like, wow, somebody actually found my channel, and then over the
Mm-hmm.
time it starts to grow. So it's definitely a surreal feeling, man. I see you guys in the chat talking about Costanzo. You're not forgotten. I see you guys in here. Caleb said he might retire. I see you, Caleb. Sean said he can't do it anymore. Faye said we'll probably draft for Sean Slater. But yeah, we'll definitely go over this some more. But yeah, we already been tweeting it out. Colts, they're talking about maybe moving Nelson to left tackle. Most people are talking about Danny Penner, so we don't know what's going to go on in the situation. I already went on the verge about them probably starting Jamarcus Russell again. Well, not Jamar. I mean Jamarcus Webb, but we don't know how that might go. So we will see in due time. But this is definitely a needed win. But yeah, on to the next question is, you probably went over this over your podcast already, but for this stream, what is your thoughts on the Colts season?
I mean, I'll tell you, it's one of those things to where, as I sit here and obviously coming out of last year, if you had told me at the beginning of the year that the Colts would have a chance to have 11 wins, I'd be super pumped. I'd be really excited for that. I mean, obviously there are those ebbs and flows to the season where you're like, dang man, the Jacksonville game. I remember turning to my wife and saying, I waited 7 months for football to come back, and they lost to this team. And I remember going to my office around these Titans fans and saying, hey, maybe the Jaguars are better than what I think, and obviously not. And so it's outside of that, and then last week, just heartbreaking watching last week's game and seeing them. I tweet a lot, and so when I'm on there, and I'm so excited at halftime, and I don't believe in jinxes, but it's one of those things where it's like you're kind of cautious, and then it just started to snowball. And even my daughter, who's 10, kind of looked at me and was like, oh, I'm sorry, Dad. So I mean, but all in all, I mean, I'm thrilled because they're playing meaningful football into week 17 and hopefully into January. And I mean, I put it on my podcast that you really, as a Colts fan, as an NFL fan, you almost have to just sit back and enjoy it, because I can't remember the last time there was this many meaningful games in a week 17. I mean, there's just so many. And as a Colts fan, you're going to actually, I feel like we're going to know more, obviously, going into when they actually play, because all those other games are before ours.
Yeah, man. This season's definitely been up and down. But yeah, this season is definitely it's still going to go down as one of the best seasons for us. I mean, we probably seen one of the best defenses since that Super Bowl run for the Colts ever, and that still stands. But yeah, this season's definitely been up and down. We should have won more games that we should have, especially week one against the Jaguars. I think all of us was on the verge of trying to figure out what the heck happened. But it was the first game. Chemistries, learning the chemistries and everything. But it was fun. So this season, it wasn't a big letdown. But if we don't make the playoffs, I still say we still had a good run this year, due to us having a positive record. So yeah, that's absolutely. I definitely agree with your thoughts on that. On to the next question. Go ahead and give me your thoughts on Jonathan Taylor's production.
Oh my God, I love Jonathan Taylor. I talk about it in my pod all the time. I talk about being on the Taylor train. Um, I was hesitant. I was a little surprised to see them draft him and move up to do it. And then you kind of do a little digging and you see, Ballard was a Midwestern scout. Ballard is a Midwestern guy, and you start looking at the Colts roster and you really notice a really strong Big Ten flavor to it. And so you kind of look at that and you're like, okay, it makes a little bit more sense. You got Mac going into his final year of his contract. But I mean, I love Jonathan Taylor. I think, he has progressed in a way where, I mean, it just took reps. I mean, everyone wanted to kind of like throw him out right away. And it's so easy to forget, I feel, as Colts fans, that he wasn't meant to be the lead back going into the year. You're coming off, you've got Marlon Mack coming off 1,000-yard season, who's supposed to be the lead dog, and he tears his Achilles in the first week. And I mean, I think I said it last time too, that literally it was like the next week, right, named him the starter. And then kind of even through all that, the benching, and then like the just the weird COVID where he got tagged and set down. I mean, I think he's 84 yards shy of 1,000 yards, one touchdown shy of 10 total, 10 rushing touchdowns this year. Which I sent a message out that said, because I thought it was just such a cool stat, and I'm racking my brain trying to remember who had it. It may have been like Zach Kiefer or someone, and he put out there that he would be the first back. He would only be the third Colts rookie running back to rush for 1,000 yards and 10 touchdowns, and the other two are Marshall Faulk and Edgerrin James. So I mean, as Colts fans, you can't help but be excited. I can't picture him not getting 1,000 yards at this point. So I mean, it's one of those things where, I mean, I think he has just come leaps and bounds over the course of the season. And when you watch in his vision, he trusts his blocks more. He trusts where he's going. he makes those jump cuts now that he wasn't doing in the beginning of the season. So I mean, I think he's amazing. I think he's only going to get better. And he's, I mean, my standpoint too is that I think you maybe try to bring Marlon Mack back just because you read the stuff too about him and you see like he has literally stayed in Indy the entire season to help mentor these backs. And so, I mean, I think the future is extremely bright. I mean, I'm so excited to see what he does this weekend and then going into next year with a hopefully, God willing, a full off season, a full training camp, a full preseason, because you didn't have any of that either.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. Onto the comment section for a second. You got FaZe, he said he's been amazing. You got Matthew with the JT equals a bust. I'm assuming that's what that is. Nomadic Brian said 84 yards from 1,000. Good season for Jonathan Taylor. Coach Nation says JC is getting 1,000. And then they're talking more about the left tackle situation. They say Marlon deserves an extension. They say bring back Marlon. So they're all on the same wave as you are.
Yeah.
But you guys, this guy, his links are in the description. I couldn't forget those as well. His podcast is definitely there, so you can check him out after the stream, or you can go ahead and give him a follow in that case while you're watching this as well. Just open up another tab real quick and go ahead and show him some love real quick. And on to the next question. Give me your thoughts on T.Y. Hilton this year.
Man, I mean, T.Y.'s T.Y. is kind of how I feel. Even with his slow start, he draws so much attention that it allows the other players, I feel, to get their touches. And it goes the same for him that it did, I feel like, for Taylor. He had no offseason, he had no preseason, no training camp, and he didn't get the reps with Rivers. And I feel like it took a little longer to build it. I mean, I think my favorite thing with that whole situation between the two of them is the whole thing coming out of what game? It was not last game, it was the game before, where they literally reported that he went to Rivers on the sideline. He was like, if you need yards, come find me. Like, I'm always open. And I think it's important too to note for him is that he is probably as healthy as he's been in 2 years at this point in the season, going into this stretch. I mean, on my pod, I had talked with Kevin Bowen kind of privately off of it through DMs, and he asked me who I would re-sign, if it would be Xavier Rhodes or T.Y. Hilton. And I love Xavier Rhodes. I come from a Florida State family. I'm a Hoosier, but I come from a Florida State family, and I had to pick T.Y. I mean, yeah, he's on the downside, but he's too. You hear Ballard talk last year about they didn't have the friction, they didn't have that, they were missing that leadership, and I think Ty is that guy. I think he's someone who is going to probably go in the Ring of Honor at some point. In my opinion, because I think you got to take Andrew Luck out. He's probably the best draft pick Ryan Grigson ever had. I mean, to find him down at Florida International and bring him in, and all he's done is produce 1,000-yard seasons. And I think the only times he hasn't is when he didn't have Andrew Luck, and he didn't do it last year because he didn't have Andrew Luck.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Just a few shout outs. Shout out to Justin for stopping by. Hello, Nugent. We heard you the first time. Colts Nation, we don't need you deleting tweets. Thank you. Appreciate it. Shout out to Kelvin. We see you out here in the stream as well. Appreciate all of you guys for stopping by. Like I said, for the mods that are in here, we do not need you to delete tweets if it is football related. If it is slander, let them slander. It counts as a view. So we do not need any tweets deleted unless they are crazy. Shout out to Hunter that just walked in. We appreciate you. On to T.Y. Hilton. Coach Nation said T.Y.'s third most yards in Coach history. Definitely deserves Ring of Honor. Matthew says, no way we don't resign the GOAT that is named T.Y. Shout out to T.Y. Hilton. T.Y. Rivers weren't on the same page at first. Now they're clicking. Pittman should develop into the number one receiver next year. T.Y. resigned, obviously. T.Y. should be resigned at number two receiver now. T.Y. back, yes. You have to bring back T.Y. So there's a whole bunch of love for T.Y. Hilton on here. Mm-hmm. He asked, can you push your pod on YouTube? If he's on the Spotify platform, you guys got to respect that, man. So go ahead and show us some love. The link's in the description, and it is free. Let's say Mac deserves extension. All right, so I'm caught up in the chat now. So the next question is, give me your thoughts on Phillip Rivers.
I'm telling you, I think he has quietly had a really, really good season. And as a diehard, lifelong Colts fan, it was definitely weird when they signed him. I was probably, I feel like I was out on an island a little bit at the time to where I was okay with rolling with Jacoby. Um, I, I think I think he's a great quarterback. I think he's a great backup quarterback. I think he is a starter, maybe not top level, but he's a starter. I think he's a fantastic and amazing human being too. But I was okay with rolling with that, and everyone kept telling me, "No, they're going to sign him. They're going to sign him. They're going to sign him," and I didn't believe it. And even when they did it, there's always that worry. I think that aging quarterback, he's 39, and he is the most immobile quarterback in the NFL. um, and there was a huge worry for my part, and the season the season didn't start the way I think everyone was thinking. You know, you got to see exactly what a lot of people say Philip Rivers does, which is cost you games at times. And he did that early in the season. He definitely, I think the glaring one that Colts fans all talk about is the Browns game, where, he single handedly allocated for, 14 points, 10 points, somewhere around there for the Browns. But he's so efficient with it, and even though he's so immobile, he is his brain and his understanding of what he needs to do, where he needs to go with the football. And I mean, it's amazing to me, and maybe it shouldn't be, but just how much he knows about Frank Reich's offense. I mean, it's been years since they've been together, and he picked it up. With no problem. It was just developing the rapport with the players. I mean, I've been really happy with it. I think they probably, I think they want him to come back. I think he probably comes back. I think the only reason and the only way he doesn't is maybe if he doesn't want to, if he wants to walk away. I think everybody knows that he's going to have surgery on his foot this off season, and everybody knows he's got, I think, 9 kids. So I mean, it's one of those things where I think the only way he probably doesn't come back is if he doesn't want to at this point. He didn't have a come apart. He didn't have the meltdown. I think the fear as Colts fans that you see in your head too is that Peyton Manning-esque final year where as much as we all love Peyton, and I mean, like I said, I live in Tennessee, so I see it way more too anyway, that he didn't have it in the end. And I think that was a huge worry. And that's a worry even for next year is, does he drop off a cliff and you've not made a move, and you have Rivers and Eason, who I love Eason, but you have Rivers and Eason, Jacoby walks, and you're stuck. And do you feel stuck?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Phillip Rivers this year, I was on the verge. Before we signed him, I was kind of like, "Oh God, here we go," because I couldn't stand Rivers at first. I really couldn't.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that playoff game against him still haunts me to this day. Us signing him, I was like, the Colts turned their backs on him. Even Robin Mathis thought the same way when they tweeted it. But it is what it is. He's definitely improved week by week. So he's definitely earned my respect over the weeks. And I definitely hope we do sign him back, because, like I said on the video I made, there's not going to be a lot of quarterbacks in the offseason this year that's going to be better than him doing the selections. So I definitely think we should sign him back. It's going to go to the comment section for a second. Shout out to Mandy Burton for stopping by. How you doing? Justin said, I really hope we bring Rivers back. He's played great in the second half of the season. Coach Major said, I had worries about his arm, but his arm is good. Indiana Sports Talk, what's going on? He said, re-sign Anthony Walker. It's going to be tough this offseason. Nomadic said the mobility does bite us when Costanzo or left and tackle and right tackle are out, which is also true. In terms of football smarts, who's better, Peyton Manning or Phillip Rivers? Coach Nation, everyone and their moms know Phillip Rivers is better. Charles Salzworth said, when he doesn't try to force the ball, he is okay, and that is a fact. Mm-hmm. Matthew says, Uncle Phil's going to lead us to the playoffs, but his throwing motion is, I guess that's a sick emoji. Anthony's out. Yes, we are aware of that. Danny Pinter is almost as good as Anthony. You have a point there. There you are, Sel. When do the Colts turn the page, though, the QB for the future? No, man, that is a great question. I think we go with what we have until it's time. I don't think you try to break up a team that's on the verge of making the playoffs now, because that's pretty much a reset button almost. If you have the team, you got the chemistry, and if the quarterback is going to come back next year, I feel like you shouldn't try to start over. I think you should just go with that person until it's time. Um, Faye says Phil can make the playoff run too if we make it. That is a fact, which is most likely. Yes. High octane analysis was going on. I see you out here in the chat. The Dolphins will probably lose. I sure hope so. Bring him back or get Stafford. That's the type of energy I like to hear right there. Yeah. All right. So on to the next question. But before I ask the next question, if you guys are in here and you haven't, his links are in the description. Go ahead and show him some support. Also, if you haven't hit the like button, hit the like button and subscribe as well. And share the channel to let them know that we are live. On to the next question. Who is your favorite Colts player?
So I read this when you asked me, and so I've got a question. Is it my favorite player right now, or is it my favorite Colts player of all time?
All time.
Oh, it's Bob Sanders. Oh, it's 100% Bob Sanders. Like I said, I live in Tennessee. You would think I would say Peyton Manning, and most Colts fans I feel like would. Oh, I love. He was a human missile. He's like DeForest Buckner now to what he did to the defense when we won the Super Bowl. He is. Oh, I mean, I can't say enough. I adore Bob Sanders. The way he played and the physicality that he played was so in contrast to how the Colts had always played at that point. They were so viewed as a finesse team and as a high octane offense, and we're going to score 38 and we're going to beat you 38-35. And when he came in, it was one of those things where you sensed it. It was, I'm going to hit you in the mouth. I'm going to do it repeatedly. And we're not finesse anymore. We're not finesse. And I mean, I've asked the question before because he's my favorite player. Is he played so short? Do you? And I'm asking. I'm curious for you. Do you think he is a Ring of Honor kind of player?
That's kind of on the ledge there because there's so much talent that we had throughout the years. I don't know if Bob Sanders would actually be able to fit in the Ring of Honor. But if it was up to me and I had the choices to give the players the rings, I would definitely give him one due to, his presence on the field and him being healthy. He's definitely one of the best talents on the field when he's out there. He's a leader, a focal point of the defense. And he's one of those unsung talents that if he was healthy, he would probably go down as one of the best safeties of all time, in my opinion. Generally, he's definitely. So, if I had the choice to give him the Ring of Honor, I really would because Bob Sanders was pretty much my everything. I think that's everybody's thought with Bob Sanders. Once you hear that name, everyone's just like, one of the best players ever. That's pretty much everybody's opinion. So, I mean,
my favorite all time, hands down. No, I mean, I don't even know what number 2 would be. He is my favorite player, absolutely, of all time.
Yeah, man. It was sucked to see him go so early, but even still, his work ethic and his numbers and his highlights would just show you. You just had to watch the games to actually know what we mean there. Now, off to the comment section for a second. I see there's faces popping up and comments being wrote. Shout out to everybody stopping by in the stream. Let's go ahead and see who you guys' favorite players are. We got Tyquan Lewis and T.Y. Hilton. Coast Nation says all time is Andrew Luck. FaZe Waterhole says all time is Reggie Wayne. Matthew says mine is Peyton Manning or Robert Mathis. Jason Davis, shout out to you for stopping by. He said, man, there's going to be a lot of good quarterbacks in free agency next year. We will see. Coast Nation said all times Robert Mathis. Bob Sanders is a good choice. All-time Peyton Manning and Reggie Wayne. Always a shout-out to my childhood hero, Johnny Unitas of the Baltimore Days. Shout out to Johnny Unitas. Big Game James, appreciate you for stopping by. He says, Bob Sanders. Shout out to the Great Patriot. He said, I'm late, but I'm just going to open your fridge. No questions asked. Shout out to you, man. Open that fridge up, big boy. Jason Davis said, man, AC is done for the year. Yeah, man, we were just talking about that. Bob was the toughest little man I've ever saw. Tell me about it. Bob Sanders didn't play long enough. You don't know. Andrew Luck, Ring of Honor, we just talked about that. I feel like he might lose that we getting some talent out there. If we got to give up his ring, and make some space, he got to move on, man. We got to move. Bob was great. Maybe I just lost my spot. Oh, here we go. We're talking about Anthony again. Bob Sanders on defense, Marvin Harrison on offense. I like that. Done for the year. Oh yeah, you guys still talking about that. Dwight Freeney. Dwight Freeney is criminally underrated. You are right about that. He's been injured. Eugene Daniel, my cousin, when he was drafted to Indy, fell in love with the organization. All-time Michael Pittman Jr. Oh gosh, it's too early for that. It's too early. Okay, so on to the next question. Your favorite Colts moment, if you can think of it. I think I lost him. We're gonna go to the chat until he responds. Who is the most hated? We know who's on my list. Patriot. What are we doing here? Do the Colts bring back Rivers next year? They should if he's available. They definitely should. Jason, is he frozen? Yeah, he's definitely frozen. We're gonna see what happens when he comes back. Hopefully he does. All right, so he just left. He should be back soon. T.Y.'s game-winning touchdown versus the Chiefs. I can see that. Who remember Robert Matthews got a strip sack on Peyton Manning? What are we doing here? You said Luck's the best player? Ooh, Charles. Yeah, I don't know if he's going to come back or yet, but I'm going to keep answering the comment section until he pops back up. The one guy from the past Colts team you wish was on the current one. If I can name a guy that I wish was on the current roster this year from the past, I'm going to go with. It's a tough question. Okay, he's back. I'm going to go with Gary Brackett.
Go on here. Sorry about that, man.
You're good. Welcome back.
I switched over to my phone. For some reason, my computer decided it was going to act a little funny. So I think you had asked me what my favorite Colts moment of all time was when I got dropped off.
Yes.
So there's so many in my mind. There's so many to choose from. I mean, obviously, I remember exactly where I was when Marlon got the interception. And being against the Patriots, and as much as I hate the Patriots, like that's up there. I've said it on my pod. I'm very blessed to the fact that the company that I work with has always had season tickets to the Titans. My family had it. I've always gone to the Colts Titans game here, and I've gotten to see the plays like Marvin Harrison's one-handed catch where he's just completely outstretched for it. One of my most recent favorite ones, and it's kind of bittersweet at the same time, was 2 years ago, Week 17, winner go home. And they showed up with Blaine Gabbert, and we rolled in with Andrew Luck. We got the win and kicked them out. And it's always fun for me living in Tennessee to boot them. So, I mean, I think the easy one is to say the Marlin interception is probably one of my favorite ones. But getting to go to the winner go home game 2 years ago, seeing us take it and shove them out the door to the playoffs, and then kind of retrospect it being Andrew Luck's final regular season game. Is kind of a monumental thing too.
Yeah, absolutely. Those moments you was bringing up, man, it just brings back memories. You can when someone brings up a Colts memory or something like that, the picture just starts to go back in your head, and you just start to think about life all over again when it was happening. It's just a crazy experience. So I'm going to go to the chat about their favorite moments for a second. Where am I? Okay, you talked about that. You said like this player. The one guy from we answered that question. Favorite moment, it was when the Colts defeated the Patriots in the AFC Championship game. Luck picked up the fumble for a touchdown versus the Chiefs. Yeah, that was a good one. I wish Reggie Wayne was on our current team. We already got enough receivers. I like the 2014 AFC Championship more better. That's coming from a Patriots fan.
Mm. Yeah.
That's going to be a tough decision bringing Rivers back, Prescott and Carr and Haskins and Stafford. Shout out to Eddie James for stopping by. Bring back Rivers and draft the QB in the first round, and then a left tackle in the second round. Shout out to Ice Snipe for pizza. We all love pizza. Go ahead and snipe us one while you're sniping the rest. The Colts were down by 28 points in the second half with luck engineered one of the biggest comebacks in Colts playoff history, ending in 44 to 40, 45 to 44 victory. I remember that game as well. Where am I? Okay. Okay. Jason David. Wow. Next is which was the toughest QB? It took some licks and kept on ticking. I don't know, Patriot. I don't know. You know, people are crazy. Yeah, Gary Brackett was. Gary Brackett interception in the AFC Championship was cool. I love Gary Brackett. Darius Leonard got a game-winning interception on the winner, goes to the playoff game versus the Titans on Sunday night. All right. But yeah, all those moments definitely I remember each and every one of them. They were great. On to the next question is give me your you probably talk about this in your podcast, but I want to hear it here. Give me your prediction against the Jaguars.
Man, I think it's a slippery slope sometimes because for some reason we don't play well against them. I think I saw something that was like it's like 7 and like 5. It's so lopsided, which is kind of surprising because they're so bad. I mean, I was talking with a buddy of mine, and we were talking about who would you rather if you were Trevor Lawrence, who would you rather go to, the Jets or the Jags? And I said the Jets because they've been to AFC title games and they've been to playoffs. The Jags are like just perpetually bad. But we struggle with them. I think the only difference this time is we lost to them in the first game of the year. It came out that Irsay had a very pointed conversation with the coaching staff and Ballard that it was very unacceptable that happened, as bad as they are. It is a must-win to go to the playoffs, and it's in Indy. I mean, if I think the Colts win. I think they take care of their end. I think we rarely see a Colts blowout. They're always like the cardiac Colts, man. Like they're always 7 points, 3 points, 10 points. They like to keep them around. But I think they're going to take care of business. I think it's going to not be necessarily a blowout, but it's going to be like a 2.5 score game, 14, 17 points. I could see like 34-17, somewhere like that. Like I think it's a get right game because they have to get right. You need to get in the playoffs. You have to take care of your business. Or the other 4 games don't matter a lick.
Yeah, absolutely, man. A bunch of people in the comment section are giving us a prediction of 30 points, and they're giving the Jags. They're spotting Jags 13 points maybe, but yeah, we definitely got to put up at least 30 on this team. We shouldn't have lost the first week. There's a few games we played where we just let off the gas and we couldn't hold on to the leads, and that's why we're fighting for a playoff spot now. If we would have just held on to our composure, sometimes for us, for the Colts this year, we're a second half team. So I always expected us to be better in the second half. But sometimes when we come out the gates in the first half or we're on fire, we're going to slow down in the second half. And that's why we lose leads. It's just as simple as that. The pressure doesn't get there. And, you get the quarterbacks that sits in the pocket all day or able to escape and sits and wait for wide receivers to get open. So I just feel like we should, keep the composure and actually manage the clock. And this could definitely be an easy win. 44-13 Colts. 200 team rushing yards for the Colts on Sunday. I want Uncle Phil to get a rushing touchdown. All right. Shout out to Commit to a Drug. Shout out to you for stopping by. He said, is MPJ even going to play? Yeah, I mean, he was in concussion protocol. I think he was totally fine, though. It didn't look as bad as it should have been. There was a question that popped up by Nomadic Brian. I'm going to ask you.
Okay.
As soon as I find it. A lot of comments. Okay. Who is the most improved Colts player this season? No rookies added.
The most improved. Man, I might go Mo Alley Cox. That's kind of out of left field a little bit, but he showed flashes a little bit last year. Uh, I think the only reason he's not shown more this year is he's not getting the ball consistently. But I mean, it's it's one of those things where as Colts fans, like it's super easy to forget. Like, dude never played football until he got to the NFL, which is like as is just crazy to me that you can make it to that you can get on a roster in the NFL and have never played football. And he did play college basketball. I think everyone knows that, and he played at a pretty high level at VCU.
Shout out to
But
VCU, by the way.
yeah, he's. I like what I've seen from him, and just personally too. When you see him get the ball, it's like Shaq holding a Nerf ball. Like his hands are so massive that I don't know if I'm a corner, I'm not tackling him. I don't want any part of that. You see him like I think the best video ever, Colts.com had put it out, and it was the one where he was mic'd up in the Bears game, and the corner ducked as he went into the end zone because he didn't want no part of it. He wanted no part of Mo going at him. So I mean that it's kind of out of left field, but I'm really happy with him and how he's looked this year.
Yeah, absolutely. I can agree with you on that. I always love Mo Alley Cox from the field. It's definitely an underrated talent. I was on the verge of when the year started is that Mo Alley Cox could definitely be Antonio Gates for Phillip Rivers if you threw him the football because he was just a massive athletic tight end that can go get the football. Simple as that. That one fumble he had this year, I feel like that was unintentional. His hands are too big. So it happened, but he never fumbled again after that. And most of the tackles for the players to go get Mo Alley Cox, they gotta go. They gotta go for the legs. Because if you don't, you can attack him on the chest. He's probably going to push you out the way like a little boy. But Mo Alley Cox is definitely a good talent. I agree with you on that. So some people in the chat are mentioning Grover Stewart, Naheem Hines, and for me, I'm going to say Tyquan Lewis. The guy is playing exceptional this
That's
year.
a great one. That's a great one. I didn't think about him. He's played so well this year.
Yeah, man, he's definitely stepped up to the plate. Some of them mentioned Kenny Moore the third. I think Kenny Moore is just an underrated corner to begin with. So he's been doing it for a while now. I feel like since people and analysts don't give him praise, it's going to look like he's improving every year. But he's definitely been doing this for a while already. So I don't think Kenny Moore has improved at all. I just think he's just been as good as he always been, in my opinion. Grover Stewart are in the comment section. I see that. Grover Stewart has been doing good. Shout out to Iconic Freeze Gaming, Ravens fan in here. I appreciate you stopping by. Thank you for the good luck that you're wishing us on Sunday. What's another question? I seen one that popped up. There's a lot of comments. If you guys are new in here, go ahead and hit the like button. I appreciate you guys for stopping by. Oh, Patriot, for your question, I have a question about that later on in the stream that I'm going to ask him as well. Would you resign either Justin Houston or Xavier Rhodes? I'm definitely resigning Xavier Rhodes. A mobile quarterback like Trey Lance would be great. I don't think so. I want a quarterback that can throw the football. I respect mobile quarterbacks a lot, but I need a quarterback that's going to throw it in the air. So, any more questions before I ask my own? Nope. Okay. All right. My next question is, if you don't mind, talking a little bit about your podcast. I know you mentioned it already earlier when I asked about getting to know you, what inspired you. But if you can go ahead and just give us a little bit more about your podcast information, while the link is in the description, so you guys can go ahead and follow that. Shout out to Titles. I see you in the comment section. Be sure to stop by. But yeah, just give us a little input for your podcast for people that just walked in and may not know.
Yeah, so the podcast basically is just it's me. I try to bring in guests as often as I can. I was super lucky in one of my first episodes. I actually got Matt Taylor to come on, and he was so nice and so gracious with his time, and made me sound like I was talking through a windsock because his voice is just amazing. And so, and I've got an episode that's coming out later this week where I've got some people from the Down by the Bank podcast for the Jacksonville Jaguars that are going to come on. So I've been really lucky with that. And you listen to it and you want to go, I want to see how can I do it? I don't know. We're gonna see. My harshest critic is my wife, and she listens to it, and she don't even sorry, Colts Nation, she's not a Colts fan, but she listens to it and she critiques me if she doesn't think I sound good or she thinks something sounds silly, and it's just it's a lot of me giving it's my opinion on a lot of things. I like to provide stats when I can, just cool nuggets, and I'm always trying to make sure that if I find a stat that I'm giving credit where I get it from, so they see that too. Um, and he knows it because I DM with him sometimes. It's Kevin Bowen, and I totally stole one of his segments, which is Twitter questions, and I love that too, because you put it out there and you just get all these, you know, after the Steelers game, I get a handful of questions about the Steelers, and then every week is questions about what are we doing in the off season, what's happening with the big report that came out this week. Obviously, is they're saying Stafford or Wentz. So I think I put it out there to my listeners. It's like, which one, if you had to pick, which one do you like? And I mean, I'm not my podcast isn't one where I'm going to come on the day after the game and I'm going to scream at you. I think I screamed into a pillow in this one because I was frustrated, but I'm not going to scream. I give a little recap of the game. I give you who I think played well. Actually, I call it my daggone players of the week. So I mean, I enjoy that. And then give some keys to Colts victory predictions, Twitter questions. I try to involve Colts Nation as much as I can because I feel like it gives more investment. Obviously, if you're asking questions and and if you ask me a question, I'm always hitting you back saying, I'm giving a thumbs up, giving a heart emoji, whatever it is, telling you, hey, I'm going to answer it. And I'm going to do my best to say your Twitter handle and your name to give you a shout out on that. So, I mean, it's just a fun thing. I try to keep them, 30 to 45 minutes, good thing to listen to on your commute to work or home or when you're just sitting around the house. So I mean, it's just my opinion. And then when I bring in other people, it's just because I want to get a different perspective. Like I said, I'm really excited about the Down by the Bank podcast coming on with me. They're actually coming on to record the segment with me tonight. That we're going to release later in the week. And so, I mean, it's one of those things. It's just me, and it's just talking football, and it's talking about the Colts. And I mean, how can you not enjoy when you love something as much as you do? I joke with my wife all the time that I say, can you name me something you've loved as much as since you were 5 years old that you still love today? And I think that's the coolest thing with sports, and that you invest yourself so much into these activities that you have no power over whatsoever. You have no control. I have no control over if Phillip Rivers fumbles the ball, but by golly, I feel like I do. And it's something that you can't describe. I mean, you do it too. You do it all the time, and it's something that is fun. And in this weird and wacky year we've had too, it's a great release. To just go on and talk about something that you enjoy. And like I said, when I get that interaction, at least it lets me know that people enjoy what I say. People enjoy kind of interacting. And that's my favorite part. My favorite part, like you said, is when you get the first comment, or you get a click, or you get a listen, or you get a follow, or you get a subscriber. It's so cool. And I think the coolest part for me is, in kind of starting this podcast, was obviously not just Colts Nation and the listeners and the fans who have kind of embraced it, but seeing firsthand how the Colts podcast, Colts YouTube, how they embrace new people too. I mean, I know you probably have them on. I mean, I give huge shout outs to people like Kevin Bowen, Bring the Juice podcast, Colts Brawl, Believe in Colts. Like they're so welcoming. Like I have constant DM chains with all of them. They're always giving me advice. I can always ask them a question and I can bounce things off of them. And it was surprising almost to me because you expect people to want to hoard that, but they're so open and they retweet and remessage, and it's been such a cool experience for me doing it. I mean, even right up to now, I mean, it was like I told you, it was the coolest thing. Right before bed, I get that message and you're like, hey, you want to jump on YouTube? And I'm like, absolutely. And like I said, my daughter's 10 and she does not think I'm cool whatsoever. And she was so excited to hear she looked your page up because she was so excited to hear I was going to be on YouTube.
That's awesome. That's awesome. But yeah, man, just a few things of what you said I took out of knowledge. The biggest critics could be in your house, and they're probably the best ones to give you a good advice and opinions on your videos. So that's definitely a good thing. And Coach Nation, I agree with you, is very supportive. They show love. Bring the Juice is definitely one of the biggest inspirations for me. They always look out for me. Being on the show was a good honor, and they're always here, man. But Coach Nation, we got the Discord and everything. We got the message links there. It's incredible how many Colts fans out there supporting one another, because I don't think there's a lot of fan bases that's doing that. And shout out to Cody from Bring the Juice. He definitely said we need more, more social platforms and social medias and YouTube channels and like Spotify podcasters like you. So, from Colts fans, and it's not a lot of us out there. And the fact that we're all together, we're looking out for each other. It's a great feeling. So I definitely agree with you on that. I'm going to
Cody. Cody's amazing.
Yeah, man, those two, Cody and Derek, man, those are my guys, man. They're the best. Indiana Sports Talk says so inspirational. Yeah, shout out to Jason Davies, said I think the Ravens will win. Colts need to draft the left tackle. JJ Watt, could you see him sign with the Colts? Absolutely not. Shout out to Dalton Pickett for stopping by. Appreciate you. He said, go Colts. That's the vibes around here. Damian Mathis, shout out to you. He said the Ravens going to lose in Miami. Okay, I appreciate that. It's very possible if they can stop King Henry. I guess you're talking about the Titans game. Shout out to Jonesy. Appreciate you for stopping by. He said the Colts going to make the playoffs. I'd like to hear that. More JJ Watt talk. I see Stafford. Do we make the playoffs? I think we do make the playoffs, Matthew. Dwayne Haskins talk. Shout out to Mason Gaming for stopping by. I appreciate you. Do we have enough money for Bud and Mike Hilton? I don't think we're going to go for either one of them. Me and Coach Talk got the same ideas. We sure do. You know the vibes. All right, so back to my questions. Oh, wait, we got an essay that just came in. Oh, shout out to you for putting the Colts Discord in the chat. Appreciate you. Shout out to Colts Fan 20 for stopping by. We need to draft a CB. Oh, shout out to my bro, Juju. He said, I wish this is a true friendship. Yeah. The Washington football team, you guys are going through it right now. But you guys are playing your lights out right now, so shout out to the Washington football team. Let's see here. I am confident that one of the 10 teams that the Colts need to lose will. What I'm not confident about is the Colts beating the Jags. Jonesy, I totally understand why you're not confident. And I hope one of these 10-5 teams lose as well. Jason said the Colts will beat the Jags. Mike put an essay out. Let's read it. I watched film on Wentz and Stafford. Wentz is not a bum. He's just a low level of talent around him with no coaching schematics. Makes a good play stink. A good player, I'm assuming. But Stafford is what we are looking for. We all love Stafford right here, man. We on the Stafford train. I told you guys on yesterday that when the news broke out about Stafford, I was already packing his bags. I just came back home this morning for Stafford before I was packing his bag to come to Indy. But yeah, we already talked. So, Stafford to the way. So you don't have to worry about that. Is that your Discord? No, Faze. Me, Derek, and a few others were planning to make a Discord a while ago for the Colts fans to get together. We made the Twitter messenger, but it wasn't enough people we can get in there. So I was like, why don't we just make a Discord? So Derek made the Discord, and there's the link for that. Let me see what else. The Rocky Sinslander. I'm going to scroll past that. Okay, so on to the next question. All right, so now I'm going to go with some fast questions here. This is totally for you, and we're going to have a little fun with this. So I'm going to give you 3 options, and it's just up to you to choose the one you would like. So the first one is Marlon Mack, Naheem Hines, or Jonathan Taylor.
Jonathan Taylor. I said it earlier. Like he's the youngest of the 3. He is big, bulky, bruising back, and he's 4.3 speed. And contrary to what happened in college, he doesn't fumble the ball. Like he's fumbled at the one, and I think even in that case, I think we're quick to not notice that it was a heck of a play that the Ravens made, just yanking at it. Like he was stood up, and that's how he runs. So I mean, for me, I go Jonathan Taylor.
Okay. Indiana Sports Talk. I seen that trade idea that you brought up. That's a lot. I don't know if teams will be willing to get Brissett out of there for that, all of that. But yeah. Let's see. What else am I missing? Sign Aaron Jones? I don't think so. I wouldn't want to do that. All right. I see a lot of Jonathan Taylors in here and one Marlon Mack. All right. So the next three are Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, or Patrick Mahomes.
I mean, I can nix Tom Brady. Yeah, that's a no-go for me. I don't want him anywhere near my Colts. I don't want him anywhere near. No, that one's done. Man, that's a really, really good one. Just the two of them.
Yep.
Pure, like just. I mean, I'm on the train that I believe Aaron Rodgers is probably one of the best pure throwers of the football in the history of the NFL, and the guy holds a grudge, I think, better than anybody. But at the same token, Mahomes is Mahomes. The only worry I have with him is that he knows how good he is. And so, you have those issues every once in a while, like the 37-yard sack. But I'd probably go Mahomes only due to the fact that he's 10 years, he's what, 10 years younger? I mean, he's got everything in front of him. And I mean, I do like to point out when I talk to people too, that I think it's important to know that team is loaded too. It's not just him. He's not throwing to nobodies. That team is loaded with talent right now. And the coach is, in my opinion, one of the best coaches in the NFL too. I'm a little different. And I don't know if this will even come to, like, I'm a huge fan of Frank Wright. I think Frank Wright is an amazing coach. But I'll probably go Mahomes. Just from the simple fact, he's got the howitzer of an arm. He can run around. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of like the no-look passes because I feel like that's just showing off a little bit, and you're going to hit trouble when you do stuff like that. But he's so talented. I mean, if he keeps going the way he's going, he's going to be up there. And I think you had it in the comments earlier, and I think it's such a good comment, is we talk about Rodgers and Brady and Mahomes, and they keep pushing Peyton down the list. And I feel like, and I'm probably biased because I'm a Colts fan, Peyton is still, in my mind, one, maybe two of, the best quarterback of all time. And I throw the rings out. I mean, the guy completely changed the way the quarterback position was played in the NFL. He literally went to the line with the entire playbook. For Colts fans who don't remember when he was there, for like the younger ones, like he called his own plays. Even when he went to Denver, they completely changed and let him there. Like, you do it, And as great as Tom Brady can be, they didn't do that in Tampa this year. They're not letting him do his thing down there. They don't trust him like they did Peyton. So, I mean, the fact that we push him down, I think is ridiculous. I'm so excited to see him go in the Hall of Fame. I've got my fingers crossed and, my toes crossed and all that it's going to be Peyton and it's going to be Reggie and it's going to be Edgerrin going in this week or this year. It'll just be great. It'll be the greatest thing to see.
Yeah, man. Definitely. The Peyton slander is always going to be there. I still have him as the greatest quarterback of all time. No matter what, it's just the fact that if you watch his games and you see the mastermind and the mechanics behind his skill, it just puts him over everybody else. Like, I understand Brady, but Brady, with his thing that he did in New England with all the allegations and stuff, he still was talented, but I just don't think he was better than Peyton. Peyton went to Denver and made a product out of a wide receiver of Demaryius Thomas that nobody cared about before he got there. But he made over the years, nobody really liked Demaryius Thomas, and he made him a product. He was actually one of the best receivers that year when he was there. Getting guys like that, like Peyton is just, he makes talent out of nothing. And he's just one of those guys that know the plays, the snap count thing he used to do, and he was a mastermind of knowing the defenses. Like he's just one of the best ever to do it. And he's just incredible. He's just incredible. I've seen a lot of Al Robinson, wide receivers talk in the comment section. I see you guys went past that already. There's a lot of Peyton love in the comment section. We all love Peyton and Coach Frank, man. So shout out to you guys. Peyton makes everyone around him elevate their game, and that's a fact. Good old days, Peyton, right, Jason? But if you are new, the links are in the description for this guy, Forged in Blue, Spotify. You guys check him out. Follow him on Twitter as well if you haven't. Also like this stream and subscribe to this channel as well if you haven't. On to the next three. Oh, back to that Rodgers thing. I'm definitely going to probably take Rodgers over Mahomes. Even though if you take either or, Mahomes is pretty much a younger Rodgers, basically. So you wouldn't go wrong with either or. Shout out to Oscar Pisa. Is because he is on a winning team. That is the only reason. Yeah, you're right. Next, the next three this is going to be a good one. The next two ones are good. You got Reggie Wayne, Marvin Harrison, or T.Y. Hilton.
Man, me being a fan of the Colts as long as I have been, I've got to go Marvin Harrison. I mean, I loved Marvin Harrison. 88, and I feel like he started the whole trend of get down when he caught the ball and preserve himself. And when his knee went, he just went. But he's another one that when you start thinking about that stretch run, that 10, 12 years that the Colts were winning 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 games a year, he's one that he's a Hall of Famer, obviously, but you feel like he kind of slides under the radar some. And that's the way I feel about Reggie too, a little bit is he's a Hall of Famer in my mind. But if I had to pick between the three, recency bias would be T.Y. Hilton. But I think I'd go Marvin Harrison just because he was just – not only did he produce, he never dropped the ball, it felt like. Like, if Peyton went his way, he caught it. He was so reliable to catch the ball, to not drop, and then obviously until his knee – to play. Like, I feel like none of them ever really missed games.
The Marvin Harrison troll. You gotta love it. Shout out to Jason for that. That was funny. He was a great receiver, but he isn't even in the same league as those two. I think he is. I think he is in the same league because Marvin had Peyton, Reggie had Peyton, and Reggie had Luck, and so did T.Y. Hilton. T.Y. the Luck connection was just almost as good as Peyton Manning and Marvin Harrison, in my opinion. So I think he's in there, and that's why I put him in that conversation as the three, because those three talents all together were definitely game changers. In my opinion, I'm definitely going to probably pick Marvin in this one as well. So that's the only reason I put Hilton in that conversation with those three, because all three of those wide receivers are probably going to go down as one of the best in Colts history. So I think that's a good debate to put up. He said, for me, it's a tie between Wayne and Harrison. Literally, you have to flip a coin. I definitely understand that. We got Reggie Love. All right. No, he didn't. He just pulled a gun out, Jason. He didn't do
anybody. He was quiet when he played. I was going to say, too, one of the coolest things when you talk about those three players, too, is one of the cooler things that I read recently, and I said it in my podcast, and I think I may have tweeted it out, was that they talked to T.Y. Hilton. He was like, when I got to Indy, I just learned this is how we do things. Like Marvin Harrison taught Reggie Wayne how to be a pro, how to work, how to produce. Reggie then taught T.Y. Hilton. And like for the comment that came through about Michael Pittman, I know we laugh. He is good. He's just young. But then it comes out too that now T.Y.'s like, hey, I do the same thing. Like I've taken him under my wing, and that's just how we do things in Indianapolis. Is we help groom the people behind us. So I think that's the thing with T.Y. too, is I feel like he's so selfless. He wants the ball. I think every receiver wants the ball, but he's okay. Like everybody catches the ball in this offense this year, and he's okay with that. Now, granted, he gets the chunk plays, but I think it's such a selfless team. And I think, because if you look at Reggie and you look at Marvin's catching 130, 140 balls a year. He set the record. and he was who the ball went to, and you couldn't stop him. And then they brought Reggie in. And I think when we talk about Ty, and even when you look at Michael Pittman Jr., you look, not Edrin, Reggie started very slow. Like he took time, and Ty kind of just came. He I think people forget, like, he just kind of busted onto the scene, and he was ready to go from, like, almost like from the jump. And I think you've seen the same thing with the rookies this year, specifically Michael Pittman, that it took him time. Then he had the compartment syndrome, and, like, for those, like, that don't have any clue what that is, like, that's an insane thing. I live in Nashville, and there was a Nashville Predators player, Ryan Johansson, who plays hockey, and he had it. And they literally thought they were going to have to amputate his leg. Like, it's an insane thing. It's insane to me that he came back like 3 weeks later, too. But that kind of set him back. And you see now, like, Phil trust him. And I think he's developing into an extremely good player. I don't know if he's a number one yet, but I think he has potential to be that number one receiver.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, man. But yeah, the leadership for the wide receiver core in Colts history just always goes down from person to person to person. And it's funny that you mentioned about Ty, not really caring about getting the ball, because I said that in my video as well when they asked when he was on that bounce slide and people were wondering where he was going to get his first touchdown. And I think as a veteran, T.Y. Hilton is now, I don't think he really cares. I think if he gets the football his way, he's going to make a product out of nothing. And he's a team guy first. So if there's another person out there that's open to get the football, he's going to let them go for it. And he talked about that in plenty of interviews. You guys can go look it up. So we're not lying about anything here. But yeah, he's definitely a team first guy. So he wouldn't shy away from getting his own touchdowns. And as you guys can see now, when he does get the football, look at what he's doing. This guy is definitely back to normal form. And Ty is that guy. So on to the next question. This has something to do with what Patriot asked earlier about O linemen in 20 years. This question should be a good one, even though I'm pretty sure I might know who they're going to select here. But the three choices are Ryan Kelly, Jeff Saturday, or Quentin Nelson.
Say it one more time. Sorry.
Ryan Kelly, Jeff Saturday, or Quentin Nelson.
Ooh, that is a good one. Man, I do love Jeff Saturday, but I'm probably gonna go. I might go Quentin Nelson. I mean, because he just coming in, he just completely and utterly changed the way the whole O-line was. I mean, he completely revamped. He's like DeForest Buckner on the defense, like Bob Sanders, like we talked about earlier. Quentin Nelson came in and from the get-go transformed that line into just big and nasty. My favorite video of him ever was last year, the punter from Tampa Bay punting the ball across the field and hit him. And he walked over like Hulk and was like, "You're going to stop kicking the ball at me or I'm going to thump you into the ground." I mean, so I think he's such a culture changer. And I think you almost have to, with this year, he's an all-pro in my mind. I also think he's playing hurt. I also think he's not 100% healthy. But I'd probably go him because, like, one of the things I say on my pod is, like, game-changing, franchise-making. And that's him. I mean, he completely changed the way the O-line played. From the moment he came in, they were big, they were nasty, they were not going to let Andrew get sacked. They weren't going to let Jacoby get hit. And, I mean, dang, I mean, Phil's been sacked what, like 19 times? I think it was like 15 going into the game last week. So, I mean, they protect their own, and I think that starts with him.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Shout out to all the Quentin Nelson love in the chat. Quentin Nelson is definitely one of the funniest and one of the best linemen you ever watch, man. It's just the montage of him even coming into the game. Even coming into the NFL, you get his montage of him running and screaming. It's just one of the funniest things you ever watch.
Oh, I love that
one. But yeah, man, it's hilarious. He's definitely a move, and everybody's picking Quentin Nelson here. But Jeff Saturday was definitely a great product as well. Before Quentin Nelson, I feel like he was one of the best linemen in the game, and he was definitely up there. So that's why I put both of them in the same conversation. I only put Ryan Kelly in there because I wouldn't know who else to put in there. So the next two questions is, if you could sign any person to the Colts, who would it be?
Do they have to be a free agent, or can they be? Like, can I just sign them off of any team? Oh wow.
Anyway.
Oh man. Any player onto this team. Man. I might. It's kind of out of left field. I might go. I might go like Jalen Ramsey. And I love Xavier Rhodes. Well, no, scratch that. No, I'm gonna backtrack on that one. I do like Jalen Ramsey. I would go Khalil Mack, because that is, when you look at the defense, Xavier Rhodes is cornerback one. Kenny Moore is amazing. DeForest Buckner, Danico Autry, Taekwon Lewis, they're great across the D line. Darius Leonard and Bobby Okereke, I mean, I think they're fantastic. Julian Blackmon's a stud in the secondary. Kari Willis is amazing. The one thing I think you're kind of missing is maybe that stud pass rusher. You know, I heard you kind of skip over one. I actually, and this gets me a lot of heat, I think, is I like Rock. I think Rock is so young. And I mean, when you look at his snap counts for his entire time, I mean, and you compare it to the amount of penalties, they're game-changing penalties when they happen. But I think he's good. I think he's going to develop. I think Xavier Rhodes is good enough with what you need. We just have no pass rush. So if I'm going to get somebody, I'm going to get someone who's going to go and put the quarterback on its back. Because I think last week we saw that when we let Ben just sit back there, he was able to, he was able to take advantage of the situation. So I'm bringing in a pass rusher is what I would do. I'd bring in Khalil Mack.
I like that. I like that a lot. And definitely, I agree with you on getting a pass rusher. There's a lot of DeAndre Hopkins, J.J. Watt, Aaron Rodgers, Bobby Wagner's in the chat. I'm definitely going to go with T.J. Watt over J.J. just because he's younger and he's just as good. So I would definitely
go injury prone.
Yeah. So I would definitely go with T.J. Watt. Shout out to Josie for that comment, but I definitely. Even Aaron Donald phase. I like Aaron Donald as well. So
can you picture that? Oh man,
him and DeForest Buckner.
Oh God, that's scary to think about. Oh my God, I'd have nightmares if I was the quarterback on that one. Oh my God, Aaron Donald. We were talking about that the other day. I was talking with my buddy he runs a Bama podcast, and we were talking about Aaron Donald. It's like he looks like a tight end. Like when you see him, he does not look like a defensive tackle. And then you look at he's got like, what does he have? Like 13 or 14 sacks this year, something ridiculous at D tackle. Oh my God, it would be the scariest thing. It would be the stuff of nightmares for the quarterbacks if you had Aaron Donald and DeForest Buckner and they're coming up the middle at you.
Yeah, absolutely. Coach Station said 40 sacks by those two alone with DeForest Buckner and Aaron Donald. They'll just be taking turns, and you can't double team both of them because it's just going to leave the end open. So it would definitely be perfect. Lamar Jackson in there, they said face we need to move a quarterback. I definitely wouldn't be opposed to that because Lamar is definitely a great talent.
Mm-hmm.
I got one last question: is if you could talk to any person, who would it be?
Any person like Colts related, or just any person in general?
In general, you can name more than one if you have to.
That is wow. Now that's like a deep question too. Man, I'll break it into two different ones. If I'm going to like Colts wise, if I were to look that way, I would love to sit down. I mean, I think we all would. I would love to sit down with Peyton Manning just because he feels like he'd be fun to talk to. Just the amount of knowledge that he has. Man, if I were to go with anybody, I could talk to anybody. I might sit down. This is going to sound weird, and it's going to sound so out of left field. Is Matthew McConaughey?
There's nothing wrong with that.
He is, he's just one. He's super entertaining, and I feel like you could just grab a beer with him and just sit. And then the other one is he's very deep. You see him on the radio. You hear him on the radio. You see him on TV when he comes on. He seems like you would just sit down on the front porch with a beer and you would just talk with him for like 5 hours and you'd leave it and you'd feel so good.
Right. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. If I had to answer this question, my one person would be Pat McAfee. If you guys don't watch the Pat
That's a good
McAfee show,
one.
yeah, I definitely they have to talk to Pat McAfee. He's just incredible and funny, man. He had Stone Cold on his podcast the other day. It was just hilarious.
Did he really?
Definitely
Oh,
one
I've
of
got to
the,
listen to that one. I love that
yeah.
he seems to be the only person who can get Aaron Rodgers to do a weekly spot, and Aaron
Right.
Rodgers is so comfortable when he does it. I mean, oh yeah, that is. I didn't even think about that one. That is such a great one. I'm a wrestling fan too, so like the
Right.
idea, like that part of it too is he's a phenomenal athlete. I don't care what anybody says.
Absolutely, absolutely. Pat is the guy you party with. Yeah, man. Pat McAfee is one of those guys you'll go to a Bills game with Bills Mafia and go to a table with just because he's
Oh
just that
yeah.
type
Oh,
of
100%.
Yeah, did you see the guy? Did you see the video with Pat eats the hot pepper? Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. All right, so we're pretty much closing up the podcast. We're an hour long. Appreciate everybody that stopped by. You guys show him some support. His links are in the description as well. Subscribe to this channel if you're new. Also hit the like button. Do you have any final remarks before I go ahead and close this out?
Man, thank you so much for letting me come on. Like I said, I do my podcast. I do about 2 a week, and it's just me. So I love like getting to talk to somebody else and kind of having a rapport back and forth. Like I love that. I mean, it's so cool to be able to do it and to be able to kind of be on here and just kind of talk about it. And I mean, the parting remark would obviously be just, everybody just, you know, I think like you said, I think they're going to win this weekend. I think they're going to get in the playoffs. So, I mean, just enjoy the game because I think, like I said, I'm pretty sure they're going to take the win. That's how I feel. And you're playing football that matters. It stinks when you don't. Like last year just stunk. When you're watching games that don't matter at all and you're already talking about the off season. I want to talk about the playoffs. Like I want to come back on here with you in like 3 weeks and talk about like an AFC title game. Like that's what I want. And it's just so much fun to be able to kind of do it and start the podcast for me during a time when the team is moving up and just enjoy the growth that they have. And I mean, just, go Colts.
Absolutely. Go Colts every day of the week. For the shoe is the motto. Run the football is the motto. Shout out to FaZe for showing support to Forged in Blue. Appreciate that. Yeah, so I'm pretty much about to wrap this up. Appreciate everybody that stopped by. We definitely got to link up sometime again soon. This was a good showing. And it's definitely pretty fun as well. So I'll try to get more people on the podcast as well, chat, during the end of the season. But one of the reasons he brought up definitely the playoffs. We got to make the playoffs because that's one of the biggest ideas for me and for you guys to interact on my live streams. So you guys won't be on delay or you guys won't be telling me what happens before it happens. If we make the playoffs, it's going to be broadcasted so we can interact at the same time, at the same moment. So that's one of the biggest reasons why the Colts have to make the playoffs, man.
Absolutely.
And it's just going to be a good feeling. Yeah, absolutely right, man. So we got to make the playoffs, and we got to do what we got to do. If not, the content I'm going to bring out is probably going to be comedy-wise until next season. So I'm going to be bringing out probably like some skits or stuff like that. But so you guys got to stay tuned in the future and subscribe to this channel. I definitely have more content for you guys. And it's probably going to be more live streams in the future as well. But this is Colts Talk and Forged in Blue. Appreciate everybody for stopping by. Shout out to Under Armour. We both got Under Armour gear on. I seen that at the beginning of the show. I see that at the beginning of the show. He got a great gear on. I got on my black one. But appreciate each and every one of you. This is Colts Talk signing out. Peace.